Hey guys, how are we doing? Welcome to Walking Boxing. It is Sunday, is it December 29th, 2024. So only just a couple of days to go in the year, and just how quickly the time flies, eh? It's just amazing, especially as you get older, of course. But you got to make the most of it while you're here and enjoy it, and that's what we'll do today. It's an absolutely beautiful day today. Again, not a cloud in the sky, although we are looking for a little bit of shade at the moment. Neil's always goes out pretty hard and then just dies a little bit. But anyway, now yesterday I forgot to actually mention that Jason Moloney, with all the non-news that's going on out there at the moment, not much happening, a lot of rumours and suggestions of what might happen in 2025, but a fight that has been announced is Jason Moloney, and he'll be fighting is it Tenshin Nasukawa, I think his name is. Now, if you are familiar with that name, it's because he did an exhibition with Floyd Mayweather. What was it, 2, 3, 4 years ago? I can't remember how long it was, but he's a real hot shot in Japan as far as, I think he was a kickboxer or something. He's only had about 8 pro fights, I think, as a boxer, but a lot of fights in the other arts, I suppose you'd call it. So explosive little fellow. Now, when he did fight Floyd Mayweather, he gave away about 20 kilos. So and Floyd Mayweather still obviously puts them together quite well. So yeah, it didn't end well for him in that fight, but I think he's improved. I'm pretty sure he hadn't actually had a proper pro fight by that stage. He just come straight out of kickboxing or Muay Thai. I think it was kickboxing, and took on Floyd Mayweather, and as I said, was beaten by Floyd, but he's gone on since then and been undefeated. So yeah, it should be a really good test for Jason. It's going to be tough in Japan, of course. He lost his world title there earlier this year. So it's he's been looking to go back. You would have seen that I did mention, was it a week or two ago, that it was due for a big fight, and this is obviously it. He was really excited when I saw him at the Melbourne Pavilion a couple of weeks ago for Andrew's fight. He was on cloud 9. He was just waiting for another opportunity. He was a little, I suppose, to be expected. He was a little bit worried about what was next after losing his world title and maybe not having a lot of prospects with Top Rank. These promotional firms, remember, they only like winners, and as cruel as that is for Jason, who's been so great in the last few years and won that world title belt, and then only lost it just this year. It's amazing how quick they can drop you. So it's a credit to him. As I said, he was really excited about it. This opportunity, this Tenshin Nasukawa, is very, very popular in Japan, and I'm sure it'll be great for his exposure, great for an opportunity, and obviously some good dollars in the pocket, hopefully. So it's going to be part of the undercard for the Junto Nakatani David Kuala fight. Now, I don't know a lot about David Kuala. I think he's only 23, 24, something like that. It's not a very experienced fighter, but it doesn't really matter. Junto Nakatani, it's all about him, isn't it? And he will draw a crowd, no doubt about that. So should be a big event in Tokyo, and I think there's another fight on the undercard. I can't remember who he said was going to be, but there's going to be 3 title fights on the card. So great opportunity for Jason, and let's hope he can bring it home, because if he does, there's plenty of opportunities out there for him. I think Jason's he might be 32 now, so it looks still plenty of time for him. He's probably got 3 or 4 good years in him, you would think. He hasn't taken a lot of punishment. There was obviously the Naoya Inoue loss, but that's probably the only fight I've seen where, and that was just almost a one-punch knockout. It wasn't like he was getting battered everywhere. So he hasn't been knocked around that much. So I think he's got a lot of miles on the clock to go, and the fact that he looks after himself so well, both boys do. Always in training, always ready. It's almost their mantra. They're just always ready. And when I saw him at the fights a couple of weeks ago, he could have fought the next day. He was in such good condition. You'd always tell whether someone's in good nick or not, because they almost glow. It's hard to explain, but you can just tell that they are in very, very good condition, and he is, and yeah, should be a great opportunity for Jason. Now, just speaking at the Molonies, of course, I did a story a couple of days ago about our trip to the States in 2015. Again, thanks for all the comments about that. But we actually went again a couple of years later. Probably wasn't as, well, it definitely wasn't as exciting as the first trip. There's only 5 of us that went. And this time it was just the boys, myself, Ronnie Picken, the boys' conditioning coach and mentor and friend and whatever you want to name. Okay, he's an absolute legend. And it was Tony Childs. We all went over together. So just the 5 of us. And we went to, well, it was supposed to be like a little version or a mini version of what we did the first time. And we still got up some great stuff, but again, it wasn't as exciting. But we went to LA first, and then the plan was to go to Las Vegas after that, because it was the first Canelo Alvarez and Triple G fight at the T-Mobile Arena. So it was going to be really, really good way to end the trip. But our main thing was to go to the Legends Gym in Norwalk, California. Now it's probably a good half-hour drive out of the CBD, I reckon. I'll just grab him here before it goes in someone's yard. And the plan was to go there and then obviously to Vegas. And it was Tony and the boys that actually chose or picked that gym to go to. I didn't really know much about it. I'd never heard of the gym before, but wow, what a gym that it was. And Norwalk, I think, it's just a little bit of trivia about the place. There's, I think everyone's seen the movie Karate Kid. The place where they go to it's called golf and stuff, when they play where they go on the water slides and play the arcade games and all that sort of stuff, and the golf, of course. That is just up the road from where the gym was in Norwalk. So just a little bit of trivia there for you. But anyway, so we went to we stayed in pretty much the same areas we stayed a couple of years prior. We got an Airbnb, and it was a lot easier. Like last time, of course, there was 12 of us. We were all over the place in the hotel. This time we're all in the same house together, and obviously it was a lot more close-knit. And the same thing, just a 5-minute walk down to the Walk of Fame. But, we did some great things, at night, going out for dinner and all that sort of stuff. But during the day, going to the gym, we had, who was there? So Jason was there sparring Michael Conlan, and I think everyone knows who Michael Conlan is. They actually fought as amateurs, I think, at the Commonwealth Games, and Jason beat Michael Conlan. And you remember Michael Conlan, who did the infamous, one finger salute to Olympic officials a couple of years prior. But he was such a great guy, and he was full of praise of Jason, of course. And Jason, between you and I, hounded him, no problem, just as they did when they fought. I thought Jason really got the better of him in sparring. And Andrew, I can't remember who Andrew was sparring, but he had some great sparring as well. Just those gyms over there. The trainer of the gym, the head of the gym, Manny Robles, you would know him. He's trained Oscar Valdez, Andy Ruiz, just to name a couple. He actually was in the corner, excuse me, when Andy Ruiz upset Anthony Joshua, and such a great guy. And the good thing about these gyms, and the same as in Oxnard with Robert Garcia, they have a really good group of hangers-on, if that makes sense. A lot of gyms and boxes don't, but the gyms over there, it's like you've got your head trainer, then they have like a team of about 6 or 7 guys around them, and they're all good guys, and they're all in it together, they all help each other, and it was just a really good atmosphere. The guys there were so welcoming. I remember Oscar Valdez being there and having a really good chat to him, and just a lovely, lovely guy. We did a video where he really praised the boys for what he saw. I remember, who was it? The gold medalist, Luke, what's his name? I can't remember his last name, but he fought Lomachenko a couple of months later and got stopped. What was his name? Because he ended up getting stopped by Ryan Garcia as well. Anyway, I'm sure you'll work it out. But he was there, such a lovely guy, and they were so welcoming to us. We ended up going to the StubHub Centre And what fight did we see? I can't remember exactly. It was the Superfly. That's the thing. It was the Superfly tournament at the StubHub Centre. And I remember, and I've spoken about this before. We sat in the audience and we watched Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez get knocked out by the Thai. I think it was in the 4th round. I remember there was. Who else was on the undercard? I think little Inoue was it maybe Naoya Inoue, or maybe his brother was on the card. There was one Francisco Estrada and Quadros. So all the best super flyweights in the world were on this card, and I remember sitting in the crowd with the boys, especially Andrew, who was eyeing off these guys. And it was ironic that it was actually Jason that fought Naoya Inoue, because Andrew had his eyes on him at that stage. And it was amazing. And again, I've done the interview with them in the crowd. It's on YouTube somewhere. And the guy saying, yeah, geez, I've just seen him close up is just a whole lot different to watching them on TV. You watch them on TV and they almost look like they're Supermen. You know, it's hard to explain, and I'm sure you've done it yourself. And then you see them in person, you go, yeah, okay, they're still obviously very good fighters, but I'm at this level. And this is the thing that both boys took away from that event, sitting in the stands and watching, because I think Jason might have been 122 then, and it was Andrew that was 118. Of course, they both went down a division, but I remember, like it was yesterday, talking to both boys and interviewing both boys in the stands, and both of them saying, hey, I've watched them live. Now that I've seen them live, I know I'm at the level. I know I can fight and beat these guys. So it was just probably what I set out to do in the first place, as I said in the video the other day, is to expose these guys to the big time over there and let them realise that they're there. You know, they can compete with these guys, and I think they walked away really believing that. And of course, they both went on to have some big fights. So, but after LA, we went to Las Vegas, and we actually trained at I think it's called the City Gym in Las Vegas, and I was so welcoming there as well. And Jason sparred with Nonito Donaire, and some really good rounds there. And I remember watching that spar thinking, and Jason at this stage, this is 2017, so they probably only had 10 fights or something at that stage. It was probably, I think he was about a year away from challenging for that world title. And I remember he gave Nonito Donaire all he could handle. And I remember thinking, geez, you know, what's Jason going to be capable of doing here? And the trainer there, what's his name? He trained Danny Green there for a while, the cute little Cuban guy. He was full of praise for the boys. And it was funny watching him in the ring doing pads, because he had heels, or, you know, like extensions on his shoes almost. They were like 6 inches high on the bottom of his shoes, so he could be at eye level with his fighters. And what was his name? I'm sure a lot of you out there will know exactly who I'm talking about. Little Cuban guy, trained Danny Green there for a while, and many others. He's been in many a corner. But you meet that many people, and this time of the morning, it's just escaped me. But yeah, they were great. And I remember Jason and Nonito having really good conversations about different things, and Jason was really chuffed that Nonito wanted some advice on his jab, because Jason has just a rocket as a jab, like a sledgehammer jab, and Nonito Donaire was really impressed with the way he used it, and actually asked him how he got such power and timing and all that sort of stuff. And of course, yeah, Jason was rapt about that, and obviously Jason asked him a lot about some his experiences as well, and they become actually really good friends after that. And it's ironic that, you know, 2 or 3 years later, they were supposed to fight a couple of times. It's never worked out, which was a bit of a shame. I would have loved to have seen Jason fight Nonito Donaire, but obviously he's finished now. But yeah, it was a really good experience. And then of course the fight, going to see Canelo and Triple G, the first fight. So this is when it was peak excitement. You know, I suppose the second fight had an element of that as well. Just excuse me while I go through the branches here. Thank you, Neil, again. But yeah, the excitement levels were just out of control. It was anticipation of what was going to happen, and I've got to say the fight itself was a little bit of a disappointment. I mean, the crowd was awesome. It was packed. I think it was 21,000 or something in the building, and there was, even though it was, I think it wasn't Cinco de Mayo, it was the other one. It was the Mexican holiday, the second week of September, and even though the majority of people were there for Canelo, Triple G had a lot of support just from those neutral fight fans. It was pretty much a 50-50 crowd on the night. And look, it was a great fight. I thought the result was correct. It was a draw. I thought a lot of people thought differently, and to this day I think most people thought Triple G won the fight, and I suppose you could make a case for it, but I just thought on the night, Canelo being still the A side, as much as a name that Triple G was, I just thought that it was still, Canelo's still the golden child, as you know, and I thought a lot of those close rounds they would give to Canelo, and they did. And you know, I did feel for Triple G afterwards though, because that was his big opportunity, I suppose, wasn't it, to beat Canelo? And even though the second fight was a good fight as well, I thought that Canelo again did enough to win, and then obviously he put all of it to bed. Come here, man. In the third fight when he won convincingly. But overall, look, it was an awesome trip with the boys, and again, it wasn't as jam-packed and as exciting as the first one, but in some ways it was actually better, being that there was only 5 of us there in the same house, you know, eating together, you know, staying up, telling stories. And it was, I must admit, I chose the house, and looking back, it was, because I mean, in LA it's not cheap, of course, to get an Airbnb in LA or in Hollywood. And the poor boys had to both sleep on couches. I had a bedroom, and Tony and Ronnie had a bedroom, but the poor old boys, they had the roll-out beds in the in the lounge room. 2 future world champions, but they didn't mind. It was just part of the trip. But yeah, we had an absolute ball, and they're just the things you look back at, you know, and they're the stories I like to tell, because they're the stories that a lot of people don't know about or hear about, the behind the scenes sort of stuff that goes on, and what the sacrifice that these guys put in, and everything else. But we had a little bit of fun, but we also worked really, really hard. And I remember also one day before I finish up, we did some conditioning stuff as well, and Ronnie had him at the track at one of those college campuses or whatever it was. We had to do some smart talking to try and get in there, because they had security everywhere, and they wanted to do a track session, and I can't remember what we told the security guys there, but they let us in and to do it, and the boys had a good session that day. So it's really funny over there. It's not like here where you can just go to an oval or whatever and just train. Over there, they're very protective of. They don't just have ovals out. It's funny, they don't just have ovals there you can just use. You've got to go to as I said, a campus or some sort of facility and run or whatever, and they got security everywhere. But it was a bit of fun. Again, I can't remember the story. I think it was Tony come up with some ridiculous story, but it got us in there anyway. But again, they're just the stories or the things you look back at fondly and just remember, and you have a laugh about when you see each other and reminisce. But it's hard to believe that was over 7 years ago now, and what the boys have achieved. But anyway, I hope that's a little bit of an insight of what goes on these trips. You know, I've got a couple more that I can tell as well, but that was the trip from 2017, September 2017, and the fun that we got up to. So guys, have a great Sunday, beautiful day. I hope you get out and enjoy the weather and get some fresh air and recover from Christmas, and just in time for New Year's. But I hope to see you in the next episode. Catch you then.